Hey guys, how are you doing? This is Madhvi from TaroticallySpeaking.com and elearntarot.com, and today I have a very interesting video for you. I think it was the video I posted just prior to this one. I think that was last month. I got a message saying that, hey, how would you, read a spread where you, instead of asking questions like what, when, where, or who, you have questions like how, should, could, or would. Questions beginning with those sort of approaches. How would you handle it? And I was like, yeah, actually, now that I think of it, I'm going to make another video about the previous one. But let's say this one, the how questions, the how should I do this? Should I do this? Could I do this? Would I do this? Or, permutation combinations of thereof. Um, so those are the kind of questions we are going to figure out how to do, take a spread, interpret it, so on and so forth. So if that is something that interests you, stick around. Okay. My name is Madhvi and I have, my site is TaroticallySpeaking.com and also elearntarot.com. On TaroticallySpeaking.com, you'll find my site where I have a blog there about all sorts of tarot stuff, and I also, offer my readings and stuff on there. And on elearntarot.com, I have my online course, like all of my, I'm putting it there, but most of my big courses are on there. So if you want to learn tarot, but the time zones are not matching, or you're on a little bit of a budget, or this, that, and you prefer online learning, then go on there, check it out. I have got all my tarot courses on there. Okay. All right. So let's begin. So the question is, how about the should, could, and would questions, right? My take here is most of these questions could easily become yes, no questions, right? Bear with me, bear with me. Like, what? Like, yeah, think about it. Should I ask her out on a date? That's a yes, no question. Could I ask her out on a date? That is a yes, no question. How would things work out if we go out on a date? Now that is an interesting, that is a question that, maybe we can address with these various spreads that I'm going to show you. But most of these questions can easily be, converted or sort of reworked into yes no questions. And I have this whole entire video about yes no questions. I'm going to link up there somewhere, and you can go check that out. But that would be like the first test of the question, is to make sure it's not a yes no question. So for instance, in the message that was sent to me, should I plant trees in my front yard? Well, that's a yes no question, isn't it? Either you should or you shouldn't. You can ask the cards a yes no question. There's a very straightforward spread that I use for that. You could use that, or in that video I think I have shown a bunch of other spreads. Well, check it out, and you can just do that simple yes no spread, right? Should you plant trees in your yard? Okay, do a yes no. But if you have a question like, how should I go about making sure that I get a nice garden, my yard, flowers this year, or how should I take care of my yard this year, stuff like that. Now that is an interesting one, because those are the detailed questions, right? You want to know how you want to accomplish a certain task. Now that, let's see. Now, I like to approach these how questions because these are descriptive answers, right? So you're going to really, really look at the cards and the images for clues, right? And specifically, like, let's take this one. How should I make sure that my, garden really thrives this year, for instance, right? It's really descriptive. The tarot cards, I genuinely don't know. I've honestly never done such a question before, to be fair, right? Because, well, I haven't. So people have, usually come to me with different questions, but no question is impossible to answer with the tarot cards, I suppose. So Let's look at how we would answer that question, for instance, using quite simple spreads. Let's start with a one card spread and we'll work our way up from there, okay? Because the more cards, the more descriptive the answer will be. That's like a rule of thumb, isn't it? So let's start with, how should I make my garden thrive this year? So all right, I'm just gonna pull one card and we're gonna see what answer comes out from there. Ooh, lovely, look at that. We get the death card reverse. Now, if you just want to have this card as your simplest guidance and answer, because it's a how question, this is how, death reverse. Don't let your plants die, right? Like sometimes you just gotta be very subjective. Water them, right? Or take care of them, put fertilizers and weed killers and do all you have to do, because this is a major arcana card, right? Because see, here's the meaning of this card is endings, right? Upright, this card literally says, all that is not useful has to end and go away. But in the reverse, the card is saying, don't let it die. So, wow, my cards have a sense of humor. All right. Okay. So, yeah, basically the cards are saying, don't let stuff die in your yard, namely plants, flowers, those sort of things. Take care of them, nourish them. And this one big card, you can really go into the symbolism of it and really come up with the answer. So there you have a one card answer for your question. But let's put this one aside for a bit. Let's say you want to go with, say, a more descriptive answer, like a three card spread. Now there are several three card spreads which could be sort of repurposed or used to get the answer that you want, and I'm sure you've got a bunch of three card spreads that you really like. So let's see. Let's just go with the simple descriptive answer, like a beginning, middle, and an end. So this is what you gotta do in the beginning. This is what you're gonna do in the middle, and this would be the end. So it's more like, first do this, then do this, and then do this, right? Straightforward, descriptive answers. So we have three of wands in the reverse. So look at the big picture, because that's what you're not looking at. When a reverse card comes up, usually that can be a big sign for saying, hey, this is what you're missing, right? Sometimes it can be a message saying, hey, don't do this, right? But so go with your intuition when you look at this. So think about this card for a second. Have you looked at your yard like a big picture, like from a broader perspective, and figured out how you want it to look or what you want to do with it? If that is the case, then maybe you're overdoing that. You don't need to do that. But my first instinct, which again I keep saying, follow your first instinct when you open the card. The first feeling I got when I opened this one was like, you're not looking at the big picture. Look at the big picture. What are the bigger problems? Do you have any issues with the layout, right? Because he's looking from the top of the mountain and he's seeing the whole picture there. So are you doing that, right? Because that's the first thing the card is suggesting that you do. Then Knight of Swords. Ooh, go at it with a sword. Hack away all your weeds, right? Look at him. He's rushing right in with the sword in his hand. He's like, yeah, attack. So go after all the things in your yard that are completely unnecessary and quickly get them out of there before they spread. Weeds, perhaps. That was the first thing that popped in my head. So take care of those things. Third, Six of Wands reversed. Now, how do you deal with something like that, right? Again, it's all going back there. If you see the direction, so if that's the big picture, you need the cards are saying come back there all the time. But here, Six of Wands. Now come back to the meaning and the context of our question. We are asking about how to make our yard thrive, right? It's the summer, you want your yard to look nice. Six of Wands essentially is a card of teamwork, right? He manages to, because remember the prior card is Five of Wands, where everybody's fighting with each other and they're just absolutely not seeing eye to eye. And then this dude rides in on his horse and he's like, cracks his whip, which we don't see here, but I'm talking metaphorically. And he gets everybody to sort of, line up their energies and he leads them, right? So now, when this card is coming up reversed, the first thought, again, I'm going with my instinct here, and I'll tell you the alternative meaning also that pops up. The first thought is don't try to control everything. Let all the different flowers and plants and what have you grow the way they have to, because every plant is its own sort of energy or has its own vibe or way of growing and what have you. So let every plant do its own thing. That's one angle. So don't try to control everything because you won't be able to do that. The second thing that I got was completely opposite, right? That could also be the meaning, because it's like, you're not managing them all properly, because that's why they're going rampant. That's why everything is going haywire. You need to get everything in control. You need to find a way in which everything is manageable, right? So again, the story just flows, but then you also see the directions of these people, because I like to do that. And the energy is kind of moving back here. So although you would read the cards, first this, then this, then this, but you will also see it all comes back to this. Ultimately, this, right? So now you have literally looked at the pictures, put it in the context of your question, and made sense of the answer. Look at the big picture, hack away the weeds, and either get everything in control, manageably, or just let everything happen. Don't try controlling every little thing too much, right? And come back and see the big picture, see your yard as a whole, and then go from there. This is an interesting spread. Okay, but now let's take the same question and try another of one of my favorite spreads. It's the situation, obstacle, and guidance. Right? It's a beautiful 3-card spread. And here again, we can straight up ask, how do I make my yard thrive in the summer? Situation, obstacle, and guidance. Let's see what what this story is all about. Situation, 4 of Swords. Oh, look, you've basically not really see, this is the card of rest, right? And this is the card of situation. You're maybe rest, healing from past hurt. That's the core meaning of this one. You're resting and healing from past hurt. So maybe and being in the situation position, I'm thinking, okay, you have been, maybe last year you tried something with your yard that didn't work and that really hurt you, and you've been just kind of trying to heal from it. And maybe you're a little, that's probably why you're asking this question. You're like, okay, last year I tried this, didn't work. What should I do this year to make my yard look better? So, you're coming from that place of, wanting to heal. That's your situation. What's the hurdle? What's stopping you? Or what's the problem with the yard, really? And we have the Empress. Now, this is interesting. When you get such a lovely positive card sitting in the obstacles position, I think I did a couple of videos about this issue too, when you have nice cards popping into weird spread positions, or weird cards popping into vice versa. So I think I'll find them and I'll link them up there too. You can take a look. But nevertheless, coming back here, this is your obstacle. This is the Empress energy. She's the nourisher. She's like, beautiful. She's all about the plants. She's all about nourishing the plants. And that is the obstacle. Maybe you're overwatering your plants. Maybe you're taking way too much care of them. Maybe you're just so, maybe your your nourishment is way too much. Maybe you need to tone it down. Maybe that is the big obstacle. So what's the guidance? Huh? My cards really have a sense of humor today. Okay. Okay. Challenge accepted. This is your guidance. Let it go. Let it be. Your cards, I think, basically five of Pentacles is all about hardship. Five of Pentacles is all about uh, finding your way through the tough times. So if I put this together, and now in this story, the cards are saying maybe last year you had a tough time. You did a whole, maybe the big obstacle here is you tried way too many things with your yard, and now it's crazy. It's gone overboard. So maybe this year you don't need to do anything, just chill. And maybe that's one way to make your plants hardy. And that way they will thrive. Sometimes. No, not sometimes. My cards really like to, do this to me when I'm recording a video. They like to be like, oh, we'll throw you a curveball. See how you can handle that. Right. Let your garden sort of go through this, don't nourish. Because, well, if you look at it this way, if you're taking too much care of it, you're over nourishing it, you're over watering it, then maybe you need to not do that in order to let your garden thrive this year. So these were my kind of 3-card spreads. There's also another 3-card spread that you can use when you are looking at, say, how questions. So let's take our question of this video: how to make my garden thrive this year. We have this one, option 1, option 2, and then say path forward, I like to call it. So it could be whatever. So this is one way you could make your garden thrive. This is another way. This is like an extension of the 1-card spread that we did the very first time with the death card reverse. Remember? So this is one card which says this is what you could do. This is another card which says this is also what you could do. And path forward is, let's see what that says. So option 1, Ace of Cups reversed. Don't water it so much. That's the first feeling I got, because he's emptying the cup. Don't overwater your plants. Like literally, I'm just taking it super literally. And option 2, we have 7 of Wands reverse. Okay, 7 of Wands is the card of somehow managing the overwhelm, right? Everything is coming at him, and taken in the context of the yard, there's stuff happening. It's barely out of control and you're barely managing it, right? That's overwhelming. Here in the reverse, you're letting that overwhelm just happen. You're like, I can't, just let it go, right? So that's option 1, stop overwatering. Option 2 is just stop fussing about it too much. And the path forward is the Devil reversed. I say it's saying don't do both of these things and just let it go. Drop the chains. Stop worrying about it. Stop, because Devil is all about chaining yourself to the material reality, intangible reality, and in this case, that would be very earthy garden, right? So stop obsessing about it. Stop worrying about it. Just let it go. And don't overwater it, of course. And that's the path forward. But maybe it's the same garden. Maybe I'm picking up on the same vibe. So let's kind of quickly go over what we saw earlier. And so far, maybe it's the same garden or it's a different garden. The first one is don't let your plants die. The second one was, this is again story, right? Look at the big picture, hack away at the weeds, and don't try to control everything. And that's one. And situation, obstacle, guidance, right? You coming from a place of wanting to heal, So don't, and this extra nourishment, that's the problem. Don't do that, and let your plants sort of tough it out this year, and they'll become hardy. And finally, option one, option two, and path forward. Don't overwater them. Let go, even if it is overwhelming. Just don't try to manage everything. Just let it go and let them figure it out. So long, I think the basics of it is like take care of the weeds and don't let them die. But apart from that, just let your garden, go through what it needs to go through this year, and that will make it tough and it will thrive. Maybe you'll see signs of it this year or definitely next year. But this is how I would break it down and do it with the 3 card spreads. There's, you can literally take a bunch of spreads and sort of, repurpose it. You should, that is the big skill, right? When a client comes to you with a question, or when, let's say, you're doing your own reading and you're sitting there with a question, you really need to frame it so that you get to the answer that you really want to get at. So depending on what the approach is, you choose your spread appropriately, right? So for instance, if all you're looking for is a very simple narrative of guidance, just go for a 1 card spread. But if you're looking for like a more descriptive narrative, go for a 3 card, or even a 5 card spread, like long story, right? Depending on how you like smaller or larger spreads. If you have options, you can do the options one. If you've got to know how to tackle certain obstacles, go for the situation obstacle guidance one. So there's all these options. You can even go for this is another one. There's a 5 card sort of cross spread, right, which you can also use. So okay, I'm not going to do the hard one. Let's try another one this time. I have a client actually who is looking for a new house, right? She's really house hunting, and so let's ask the question on her behalf. How should I go about this house hunt so that I find the house that I'm looking for, right? What would be the best approach? All of this, whatever, 1 second. Let me just take all these cards and shuffle because it's a totally different question. So let's ask this question, right? How should I go about looking for, I'm finding my dream house. All right. So we're gonna do like the cross spread, 5 cards. So again, I'm just laying the cards out in a way that feels more natural to me, but you may have a different way. Go with what feels natural to you. Okay. So now here's the thing. This central card is the key, right? And everything sort of surrounds it. And if we just go by, your Celtic cross sort of formula for this, we say, oh, this is the best you can accomplish. This is your situation. This is the whole point of it. But since this is a guidance spread, right? So this is the core answer. This is the best you can go for. This is what supports you, right? Again, this is the energy coming in from before, and this is where it leads, right? But again, this is purely guidance. This is how you would go about finding your dream house. So send a card. Oh, 2 of Wands reversed. Now, if I was a smart person, I'd be like, just you don't have to look very far. This right there, if this was just a 1 card spread, would in all probability tell me you already are in your dream house. But if we look at directions, it's also going in this, well, we have to see what the future will unfold and entail. But if I were to just interpret this 1 card, that's what I would say. You don't have to look very far. You probably are where you need to be. You are in your dream house. But let's go. Mm, this is the best you can accomplish. Again, we have temperance reverse. This is just confirming my original interpretation here. But temperance reverse again is saying, you don't have to really go so far. You need to come back. You need to regroup, refine your balance in a certain way. There is something that you are maybe overlooking. Okay. So what supports you? Your enthusiasm, your desire for something wonderful and better is supporting you. So you've got the enthusiasm, but you're perhaps another interpretation is you're maybe looking in the wrong place, right? You need to come back to the drawing board, maybe reassess what you're looking for in your house hunt, your list of things you want in your new house or something like that. So before that, oh look, Queen of Pentacles. I think where you are, you're really, really, sort of rooted and grounded, and you have a nice energy there with that house. So going forward, don't confuse yourself. Moon is the card of confusion. Really, this is an interesting spread. The cards are basically saying you need to just come back to where you are. Maybe what will happen, because if I know this is not a future prediction spread, this is more like a guidance spread, right? The cards are saying that maybe you'll just go through all of this and you'll realize that, my home, or rather the home where you are staying, is perfect. But maybe you need to go through that. The moon does send you through the cycles. So, but yeah, going forward, right, they will discover, or what you will come through is you'll overcome whatever misgivings you had, confusions you had, or fears and doubts that you had, and you'll come back to where you need to be. Okay, let's take a different how question for this 5-card spread. Or better yet, let's try a free-form sort of 5-card spread, just long story. Because again, this is pulling from one of my favorite Lenormand style spreads, just pull a line of 5. So, all right, I have another client who is planning to, study some courses online and stuff like that. So how should she, what should she do? Yeah, this is a little bit different track from the how, but it's kind of going with that how. How should she study? How should she study so that she accomplishes the best, right? How should she go about her studies so that she gets the most out of the courses that she's studying, and learns all that she needs to learn, and does basically generally a good job with her grades and stuff. So how should she go about her studies so that she gets good grades? Yeah, that's a good one. See, this is how sometimes you just talk it out, and sort of help reframe the question, make it as simple and clear cut and focused as possible, right? So how should my client study so that she gets good grades in her class? And we're gonna do now straightforward line of 5. Okay, so remember that 3-card spread we said beginning, middle, end. So this is kind of the same thing but with 5 cards. So it's first this, then this, then this, then this, then this. Simple. Story is flowing. And then of course we'll see the directions and the connections and whatever if that happens. Okay, so first and foremost, Emperor, discipline. The Emperor is all about discipline. So no matter what, if you have set a timetable and follow it, right? Stick to the discipline. Then King of Pentacles reverse. Again, each card is a guidance, right? So And again, it's kind of tying into each other. King of Pentacles likes the stability, likes the sameness, the routine, the everything. In the reverse, so while they're saying that, okay, maintain a schedule, a timetable, but in the case that your schedule does, sometimes, because life happens, things happen unexpectedly, sometimes if your schedule does go a little, here and there, don't let that phase you, don't let that get to you. Hmm? Seven of Swords reverse. You don't have to be super strategic with your studies, right? Because this is the card of strategy, grabbing what you can. So reverse is saying you don't have to be super strategic, just be sincere, be diligent as best as you can. And then we have Five of Swords reverse. You don't have to really prove a point. Don't go into your studies with the whole I'm gonna do this and with a very angry energy. Go with it peacefully. Just go with the flow. And finally, there you go. Ooh, lovers. I like how it starts and ends with, and I'll talk about mirroring, but here we go. We have lovers. So find the harmony and go and basically just harm, everything will work out. So how should you get good grades? Make a timetable, stick to it. If the schedule goes haywire, don't stress about it. There's no need for you to get super strategic with your studies. An honest approach and an honest way, honest approach, yeah, there you go, an honest approach will be good, right? Don't have to go about it with that mindset that I have to top this course no matter what. And in order to do that, I must defeat other people. No, you do your stuff, right? You study the best as you can. The result, you will find the harmony. Go about it with a balanced and harmonious approach, right? The Lovers talks about two different approaches. We have the very masculine approach and the very feminine approach, and you need to find the balanced approach. So you need to find, and perhaps this is another guidance, right, in terms of your studies. So maybe whatever topics you have, try to see at them, look at them from two different approaches. One very masculine, very logical, right, and one very feminine or very intuitive, creative, right? And go at it from those and then find the balance. Now in Lenormand, we also do mirroring, and sometimes when I do a line of five, I like to sort of apply that mirroring. And what is mirroring? You look at cards that are literally opposite of each other here. So it will be these two and then these two, and see what connections they make. So again, with the Emperor, we have this stability, number 4 vibe. And then with the Lovers, you have the balance or harmony, 6 vibe. And again, Emperor is all by himself, solo, sort of, going at it. And Lovers has company. So maybe there will be some parts which you can study solo, but with some parts you might have maybe get into projects or group efforts. Both will work out fine, so don't stress about it, right? And so this again, the King of Pentacles reversed and Five of Swords reversed. You don't have to be the boss of everybody, and you don't have to pull other people down so that you can get to the top. You don't have to do any of that, right? So sometimes you might have to, especially when you're working maybe with groups of people, you might have to, because this card is looking here, this guy's looking here actually. So anyway, the point is, if you're working to with other people, which maybe sets your schedule a little here and there, don't worry about it. Be chill. It'll be cool. And then the center card. There's no strategy that you'll have to apply. You don't have to be super strategic about it. So, the point is, you can come at it from different angles. You can again see, oh, look, these guys are looking at this one is looking here. You can group them like that based on the directions and say, oh, this is together, this is together. This kind of makes sense, right? Because he's talking about bossing over other people, and they're like, oh, be harmonious with other people, right? And here, there's no need to be super strategic. If the schedule goes awry, just well, best as you can, stick to your schedule. So this is the way you can study and get good grades. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? I hope that this sort of breakdown makes sense, and the way I've used different spreads to get to the answer has made sense. But yeah, this is a very simple way. The whole approach that I like to take with spreads and with questions is, don't stress about it. I mean, if nothing else, you can just pull random cards, uh, and they can be 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, whatever number feels good to you. Just don't go overboard with it. Just pull random cards and see what they say. And again, in terms of interpretation, take the core meaning of that card and apply it to the context of your question. See what comes. Be creative, right? And then look also at the image and what that is telling you, right? So, and as you get better, as you practice some more, you can literally adapt many of the spreads or most of the spreads that you know to answer these kind of how questions. All right. So I hope that the spreads that I have shown are a great place to start, and the approach is a great way to break down the question, and then go from there. Practice, practice, practice. Right? Now, I think your message has also inspired me to sort of look at the questions where you have what, when, where, or who, but I'll make separate videos for that. That's a good one. It's inspired me just 5 minutes ago. So anyway, just 5 minutes before I was making this video. So like, okay, this is a good one. So I will be making those videos also pretty soon. If you have any other questions, any video requests, any other doubts that you want clarified and you want me to do a video about it, just message me, let me know. And I have a bunch that I have planned out, but this is fantastic. This is just like, oh yeah, it gives me a nice challenging thought process also. I'm like, yeah, how can I make a nice video about this, right? So that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you liked it. And if you did, please, please, please hit the like button. That really helps. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, go right ahead and subscribe. I know I've been a little out of it lately, but I promise that I will soon. At least I'll make one video per month. So you can count on that, if not more. And I hope to start making more of these, these tutorial type videos pretty soon. And please go check out my website elearntarot.com, because I've put a lot of my course material is out there, and I'm in the process of slowly adding more and more. I'm thinking of doing some short courses, and there's a bunch of innovative ideas. It's in my head right now. I'm just gonna get down and do it. So sign up for my newsletter, because that's where all my updates happen. And so you'll get to know things before they're implemented, or just right after they have been implemented. So sign up for my newsletter too. And yep, that's basically it. I will see you again in my next video, and until then, stay good, be good, and play with your cards. Bye now.